Hey YouTube, this is Spooky47 with another video. Today we're going to cover Wolf Game again, and we're going to be talking about the Wool token, which is the native token for the Wolf Game NFT project. On the screen I'm on coinmarketcap.com, and if we go up to the search bar, we're going to search Wool, or you could also search for Wolf Game, and that top result there, Wolf Game Wool, is the token that we're going to be looking at. So this page will give you a lot of data on it. You can look down here, you can see a basic chart. Later in the video, we'll go over how you can get a better chart than this and do some technical analysis. But if you want to look through here, you can see some different key metrics. But the thing that we're most interested in is getting the Ethereum contract address, because this is what we're going to need to actually buy the token. So just come to coinmarketcap.com, type in wool like we did before, get to this page, and then you're just going to click copy address. Now that's copied to our clipboard. Next step is we've got to get over to Uniswap in order to find this on a DEX. And all we're going to do is type in Uniswap. We're going to go to uniswap.org. We're going to launch the app. And now we want to find the token. So we're going to paste the address that we had, and there you go, Wool token. Import it. It's important you do it this way because on Uniswap you could run into trouble if you don't search by the contract address. So there we go. We would type in our ETH. We would that will auto populate the amount of wool that's going to buy, and that's how we do it through Uniswap. Before we buy any wool, though, it is always a good idea to check the price of ETH gas. So let's just do ETH gas price in Google, and the first result, etherscan.io. If you go there, we'll see that gas is looking pretty inexpensive. Basically, anything lower than 50 or 60, I'm usually comfortable with. You'll see this get as high as 100, sometimes 200 if there's a mint going on. So I always recommend that you check ETH gas just to see what that is before pulling the trigger on anything on Uniswap. Now back to Uniswap. I had paused the video. I logged into my MetaMask Chrome extension, and we're going to buy a little bit of Wool token here just so you can see how this works. I'm going to buy about $100 worth of it. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to hit swap. We're going to confirm swap. It's going to pop up asking me. You're going to see a estimated gas 1236. That's not bad at all. We're going to hit confirm. And then we're going to go ahead and close this. And you can see on the top right that our transaction went through. In the interest of time, I paused. It took about a minute to do so. Now, if we didn't have the Wool token in our wallet already, that button that it gave you that said you could add the Wool token to your MetaMask, you'd want to go ahead and do that. If not, in MetaMask, you could take that contract and add it manually. So that would be another way to do it. Next thing I want to show you is how we would go about using DEX tools to take a look at chart to see when is the best time to buy that precious wool. Now we're over on DEX tools. Don't worry about finding this manually. I'm going to include a link in the description to find this exact page. When you get there, it's going to default to a 15-minute chart. Typically, I like to work off of either a 4-hour chart or a 1-day chart. So for now, we're just going to set it to a 1-day chart. We're going to wait for that to load. And here you can see the history of Wool token going back to when the project first launched in late November of 2021. So we're not going to go into a ton of technical analysis. I'm just going to show you how to use moving averages. So click indicators and type in simple, or let's just type moving average. And we're going to hit this 1, 2, 3 times. Then what I want you to do is come over to these 3 little dots, click that, click settings. We're going to have the first one be a 9-day moving average. We're going to go to style. I'm going to set this to a red line. You can choose whatever color you want. This is just normally how I set up my charts. And then we're going to hit OK. We're going to come down to the second one. We're going to go to settings. I'm going to set this one to a yellow. And then we're going to go to inputs, and we're going to set this to a 20-day moving average. And then finally on the third one, we're going to go to settings again. I'm going to set this one to a 50-day moving average. And I forgot to change the color, so let's go back in there. Style, I'm going to set this one to a blue line. So now these moving averages will give you a sense of the price action. You can take your cursor, put it over by the prices, move it upwards to kind of expand it. That way you can see trends. You can also scroll in and out. So I'm going to get down to the current price action. I'm going to scroll in a little bit. So on a very basic level, the first thing I'm looking to see is the price action above that red line, the 9-day moving average. So if we pull back a little bit further here, let me see if there's a way to set this full size. Yes, there is. This is going to make it a little bit easier to see. If we use the 9-day moving average as our indicator on this chart, going back to, and in fact, I remember being in the Discord around this time. I think this was like late December, and I had noticed it was popping above, and I was like, I think that's a bullish sign. We had crashed down from some of the early all-time highs that it made, and then we went on this tremendous bull run up to, we have a candle close roughly 50 cents, but you can see the trading action. This is called a wick. This is these candles where the candle stops. That's called the candle close. So where the candle closes on the right-hand side is where it ended trading for the day. But if you see a wick like this is where the trading action was. So that was peak FOMO right there, up around 56 cents. So again, coming back down to this, the 9-day in a bullish environment was an incredible way to trade this. Because if you would have said, all right, I'm going to wait for it to get above the 9-day. I want a full body candle close, meaning the entire candle is above that. So roughly you can call it on this day. Let's say you're being conservative. You waited till then. You'll also note that the 9-day crosses the 20-day moving average. That's another bullish confirmation. So even if we waited 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, you got your confirmation not only of it trading above the 9-day moving average, but also the 9-day moving average line moving above the 20-day. If you got into the trade here, you're feeling pretty good. Now, I will say, using the 9-day moving average as your only indicator, well, easy to get head fakes. So somewhere in this neighborhood, even if you waited for confirmation here, you might have been exiting the trade earlier than you would have liked and then missed this upside. So another way to do this and determine your exit is also to continue watching the moving average, to not just say, okay, is it trading above the 9-day moving average, but to say, is the 9-day moving average itself still above the 20-day moving average? Because that could indicate we're still in a bull environment. So regardless of where you decided to exit, if you were using the moving averages, let's say you ignored it, you got to this point, well, here we drop below the 9-day moving average. Now our 9-day moving average line has moved under our 20-day moving average, indicating it is now going into a bear type pattern. So if you decided to exit, let's say you'd stayed in here, you decided to exit the trade somewhere in this neighborhood where it was still trading above the 50-day moving average, you're in pretty good shape considering where the price action has gone. And of course, this isn't just reflective of the Wool token. In fact, Wool token, I feel like, is held up very well with the bear market in crypto that we have going on. Not just a bear market in crypto, but also in equities. As of today, May 24th, 2022, a lot of markets are still getting beaten up. So that is one way to look at it for a bullish reversal here, and then a bearish reversal in this neighborhood. So as we're looking at the current price action, well, how would we analyze this? So let me move the candles up a little bit there so you can see it better. So here you see us popping above the 9-day moving average. Generally, I want to see a confirmation of a full body close. This would be the first example of a full body close because the entirety of it is above the 9-day moving average. All right, that's great. We saw it get above the 20-day moving average. And then you can see, though, unfortunately, this 50-day moving average acts as a type of resistance. If you're not familiar with the term of support and resistance, you can think of hitting your head on a ceiling, okay? And when it comes to support, that's like bouncing on a floor. So it is, again, important to keep in mind the macroeconomic environment we're dealing with. So long as Bitcoin and Ethereum are struggling, well, pretty much all alt tokens are going to as well. However, you can continue to watch this to see, all right, well, does the 20-day moving average start to move up? Because that could indicate we're going back into a bull trend. Ideally, I'd like to see both the 9-day and the 20-day crossing above the 50-day. At that point, I would likely get very, very bullish on what Wool token is going to do. So that's a very quick way to do basic analysis. There's a lot more technical indicators you can use, but I just wanted to cover some very basic ones to people who've never been exposed to this before. So like I said, link in the description for this. You don't have to register for anything. You just pull it up on your website. Do the steps that I did up here, finding your indicators. Just click the indicators. Again, moving average. Whoops. Moving average. And you would find it right here. And that's a really easy way to go ahead and do some basic technical analysis on the Wool token. One last item before we wrap it up. I would also suggest going to wolfgame.tools. No, not wolfgame.tools, wolf.game. This is the main developer site. And on here, you'll be able to see a tab that says white papers. So coming to white papers, I would suggest if you're not familiar with the Wolf Game NFT project, you start from square one with white paper version 1. This is going to talk about a lot of items that are, as they say, for historical purposes only, because it talks about the initial mint and how that worked with staking sheep, etc. A lot of that is not a player at this point, but the stuff about the Wool token is. So I would start reading from the first version of the white paper right through the most recent one, which is Cave Game, which we're currently playing. That way you can get a little extra insight into the Wool token as well as the overall project. I think Wool token is going to do fantastic when we finally do get back into a bull run. I think just the amount of wool that has been spent during Cave Game speaks to how the utility of this in the gaming atmosphere is working out, and it's doing very, very well. I expect that eventually this will be a top crypto gaming token. So it's a great time to get involved with it and also to use it in the game. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comments. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, and we'll keep coming at you with more crypto and NFT content. Thanks for watching.